Wow! I'm excited, guys. I am officially a Jonesboro Rotarian. Yeah. I didn't even know the Jonesboro Rotary existed until Terry McMillan invited me to a luncheon. I came, of course, not knowing what I was to expect. Terry told me it was a great organization to be involved with, especially since I Am My Sister's Keeper is still new. Not many people still know about it, and that the Rotarians would help me get the word out about our organization. And then I visited All Digital Printing, and I got to speak to a wonderful, wonderful person, Van Silliman. And he told me it was great to see me at the luncheon, and he even talked about the rewards that the Rotary had to offer, such as being part of the community and how it makes you get involved and know the people that you are serving. I still wasn't sure, still had my doubts, but I knew that in order for me to know the people in the community, to hear their needs, and to see some of the things that they wanted, that I needed to be part of an organization that already was in place to help make that happen. Another one of the reasons that I joined the Rotary was because I now know and understand that any personal or business success, it depends on our community, and us having the core values of honesty, fairness, and building relationships is what I strive for in my everyday life. I love being among key decision makers who knows what it takes to come together to come together to accomplish the things that I could not tackle alone or by myself. So I joined the Rotary, and because besides you all being some amazing men and women, there's a collection of business and community leaders, and I honestly believe that one of the reasons that I joined the Rotary was because you all have the mindset of serving others. There's a simple pleasure in serving others. It's service above self, sharing our time, our talent, and our treasures. And I'm honored and humbled to be part of a wonderful organization. I thank you, thank you, thank you for welcoming me in. We have such an amazing time meeting every Thursday. The Jonesboro Rotary Club, we come together every Thursday from 12 to 1. We have great food, great conversation. You should be there. Meet us there this Thursday from 12 to 1.
Did I catch you in the middle of food?
No, you caught me trying to find my reading glasses.
Okay.
Open our eyes
That we may see.
Open our ears
that we may hear.
touch our hearts that we may love,
Clear our minds that we may think.
strengthen our hands
that we may work. Sergeant at Arms, you don't have any introductions today?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Good to see everybody here today. We have no visitors today, and our own Jim Miller is doing the presentation today. So we'll move on to announcements. I know we have a few announcements. Carolyn, do you have an announcement that you would like to make?
Yes.
Couple? Yeah, go ahead.
The first one is our Christmas gala that was scheduled for December 8th is until April, where we will be having a parade ball. That's what we're planning for. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough ticket sales to pull this off, but I believe that we'll have enough time to pull out the masquerade ball, which will be taking place in April. The other announcement that I have, I think I have one more, is I am looking for donated space or affordable space. Where I am right now is becoming more of a burden so that I can't concentrate on what I need to take care of. We are serving right now between 30 to 45 women that we need a space to where we can do the mentoring, the tutoring, the community hours, and the workshops. And we're serving about 15 students where we are tutoring them in math and English. And this space needs to be, we need an office, we need a reception area, we need a clothes or a pantry, because we also feed the homeless that's down on McKee Street that come up and down. And so I'm looking for either more affordable space or donated space. And so if you know anybody that has a space, let me know. It's very important. We're serving women and children, and I'd hate to just be where my heart, my sweat, my blood, my tears, we're just packing up shop and saying this is not what we're gonna do. But I just believe God. I know all of us are believers, I hope. But I'm just walking by faith right now. We're in a really good place, but I just need more. And I need more of the community support to help with what we're doing. We're making a difference in the lives of these women and children, and I just hate for them to not have it anymore. And then I thought I had something else, but I can't remember what it was.
Thank you, Karen.
December the 13th, which is a Thursday, second Thursday of the month, we have made arrangements at Westlake Valley Clubhouse to have our Christmas fellowshipping again. And I'm gonna be glad to be back, so that way I can use the kitchen to cook with. But anyhow, we make arrangements now for the 13th of December, a Thursday night, for our Christmas party. And I'm gonna turn it over to John now, because John's got the sign-up sheet, and he's gonna tell you all the particulars.
So we got a sign-up sheet for the same. If you can go ahead and put your name down and how many are going to be attending, meaning if you're going to be bringing a spouse or a significant other, just put your name down and then 2. So I'm going to pass that around. At the same time I'm passing this Jonesboro Rotary sign-up sheet around. We've got the sign-up sheet for Salvation Army. Salvation Army at Lowe's Foods is next Monday and Thursday. It's going to be December 3 and December 6. Y'all have done fantastic with signing up. What I'm showing you is that we have 3 slots left. So thank you so much for being generous and signing up for a 1-hour slot. We've got Monday, December 3 at 11 and noon are still available. And then Thursday, December 6 at 7 p.m. is available. So please look at that. And if you can complete that list for me, and back to what Yvonne was talking about, go ahead and sign up for the fellowship.
The ABC's there. Listen.
So we've split the alphabet up into A through M for bringing a side dish. Yvonne works extremely hard, most of you know this, to provide the main foods for this event, like, turkey, ham, that kind of thing. So side dish is A through M. If your last name begins with A through M, bring a side dish, potluck. If your last name begins with N through Z, bring a dessert. Got it? N through Z, dessert, A through M, side dish. And I think it's been mentioned that we're going to be doing the Mike's Happiness Fund again. Mike's Happiness Fund, bring either the equivalent of a $20 gift or cash or a check. And we're going to be using those monies to gift to children who probably would not have a Christmas. So in lieu of presents for ourselves, we're going to have fellowship, but we're doing it for a good cause to Mike's Happiness Fund.
John, why don't you mention the bowling team?
Oh, so the bowling team, Mike's Happiness Fund, which is an offshoot of Jonesboro Rotary, we had sponsored a bowling team for developmentally disabled individuals last year. I think I got the call last spring from a friend of mine who said, John, you're in the Rotary. Could you guys sponsor our bowling team? Sure. I brought it to a board meeting. Board said, yeah, sure, we can do that. All they needed was t-shirts. We provided t-shirts for individuals. I got a phone call about a week or 2 ago that said, remember us? We're part of the bowling league that you guys sponsored, and we didn't spend a lot of monies, folks. I mean, it was not a whole lot of monies at all. We want to come and say thank you and bring a token of our appreciation, which I still don't know what that's going to be. But they want to come and see us and say thank you, which is just wonderful. So I was just beside myself, and I was like, wow, we need to do a better job of this, because we in Rotary need to brag about ourselves and see where our monies are going. Often we will write a $500 check and send it away, feel good in our hearts about it, but not really know where it's going. So they're going to be coming in 2 more weeks. They're going to come to see us at the 20th meeting. Is that 2 more weeks? 3 weeks. Thank you, Debbie. In 3 weeks, they're going to come at the tail end of the meeting. They can't stay for the whole meeting, but they're going to bring some of the bowlers as well as some of the parents. And lastly, Larry, who sells a gang of these raffle tickets, called me a couple days ago and said, John, what's up with this bowling league? Someone that I sell tickets to every single year in Trace said thank you for sponsoring those shirts. Do you see the sphere of influence, the web? Larry didn't necessarily know that. I had no idea that was going on. Now we know why they think Larry's a great guy and they buy tickets without asking. Right? And so all of a sudden Larry doesn't have to beg and plead. So that's it. That's my long announcement. I'm going to send these around.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Peggy, do you have an announcement?
Yes. Today is the first day of It's a Wonderful Life, the radio play. Runs through December 16th. I hope you'll all come. In conjunction with that, on December 13th, you just reminded me,
Oh, yeah.
we are doing our very first sensory-friendly performance. It's at 9:30 in the morning. It's open to adults and young people with disabilities. The lights will stay at half for that whole performance. We have safe space, and if you need to get up and walk around, if you have some sort of reason to make noise, all of that's allowed. And so if you know any people that would want to take advantage of that, tickets for that are only $7, but it's the full show. It's just it's a little bit different format. So please let me know if you know anybody that we could reach out to, because we'd like to make this an annual event throughout the season. So also this evening, I don't see Patrick Kelly, but we're taking the youth choir from the show and some of our Temple Teen Ensemble over to CCCC because it is their Christmas tree lighting today. So we're going to be singing from about 4:45 to about 5:15. So if you're not doing anything, stop by CCCC and see the tree light up.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Any other announcements? How about brags? Anybody have any brags today?
Yeah, I got right here.
First of all, Paige, thank you for talking about the Christmas tree lighting. Please do come out. We live in such an awesome area. The 3 counties of Lee, Chatham, and Harnett together make up an unbelievably progressive and forward-thinking part of North Carolina. Last year, thanks to the help of people like John Crumpton, Lee County started the K-14 Promise, which allows students to go 2 years free once they had graduated from high school at Central Carolina Community College. By the end of this month, Harnett and Chatham will have also joined that program, so that all students graduating in the 3-county area served by Central Carolina Community College will be able to attend Central Carolina Community College free for up to 2 years.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. First, I want to brag on our new members. We had the new member orientation today, and actually all 5 new members are here for the meeting today. But for the orientation, I'm going to get together with Maricela and Jamie and bring them up to date because we covered for Jennifer, Carolyn, and Mike the real basics of Rotary. And in an hour, you can't do much more than point out where to go for the district website, how to get on My Rotary. And so we've got that started. But the main thing I'm bragging about is that these folks are really Rotarians because they volunteer already in a lot of different places. Jennifer, my gosh, she's involved in so many different things, but Highway to Healing is a passion for Jennifer and for myself. Carolyn,
I actually signed Larry up at that.
You
Isn't
did?
that a role
You
reversal?
signed Larry up?
I processed his application.
and Carolyn and Mike, we really, and Jamie and Maricela, we really are so happy to have your generation involved in our Rotary Club. The other brag I have is for my son. My son has moved from Fisher-Price and has been recruited by a number of different companies, but now he works for a company called Skyrocket out in Los Angeles. And the only thing that they did before he went with them was to make drones. And they hired Brian because they said, you know, we want to diversify. We want a toy division. We want a kids division. We've got the money. We need to get somebody who knows how to do this stuff. So Brian's been with him for a couple of years. He's now got what in the toy area, what is probably going to be in the top 5 toys for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And you may have seen it, and I'll bring them next week. It's called Pomsies, and they're all over the news. You can find them in Walmart. You can find them on Amazon, and actually they're selling so well. Brian had to go over to China 2 weeks ago to try to get more for the follow-up period after Christmas. So they've already sold something like
You're up to $5.
You're up to $5. That's right. That's right. Exactly.
It's worth it. Yeah, they sold something like 6 million units.
$6.
Okay, I'm gonna sit down before it costs me more.
Thank you, Larry. Any other brags? Jim, did you?
Last Friday.
3.
Last Friday, Kent State 77, Vanderbilt 75. Middlefield, Ohio, Monday night, 6 inches of snow. I escaped.
Let's see, I joined Rotary when I was 70, and last week I joined an elite club. I'm now in the octogenarian club. And I joined Rotary, I guess, about the time Bud came here. You said 10 years ago, right? So I just wanted to celebrate.
Thanks, Eric. Any other brags? Eric?
Yeah, if you don't know, I got opportunity to video the Emmers, and quite naturally they're always good. But before the Emmers came on, we had a great Temple Theater lady to introduce them. So if you get an opportunity, go to the website and you see Miss Peggy at her best. Yeah, she made the Emmers look good.
Any others?
I'm bragging on my sister Cindy, who turned 60 today. And the brag is not that she will always be older than me, but she will. But she's a physical therapist, she's a hand specialist, and she just was asked to take part in, and they were just released, national training videos, and she was nervous. She's not the performer of the family. But she did a beautiful job, and now they've asked her to start publishing articles. So congratulations to her, and happy birthday.
Good.
Thank you, Peggy. All right, Morris.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And I want to thank Larry, Neil, John, Debbie, and Yvonne for leading that Rotary orientation at the beginning at 11 o'clock. And if you haven't been to one of these in a while, sometimes it's real easy to forget about all the things that's going on in Rotary. And they did a good job of getting all of that squeezed into 1 hour. I'm sure we could have had about 2 hours of it. But I just want to remind you, there's lots of jobs to do at Rotary, and we're glad to have you come here and hear the programs and have the meal every Thursday. That's a big part of it, but there is work to do, and these folks, they go the extra mile to do that, and I just want to recognize them and say thank you for the extra work that y'all put in on Rotary. And Jeremy, thank you. And every time when you see these things hanging and this around here, Jeremy's taking care of that, so we thank you too for that. Anything else come before the Rotary before we announce our speaker? Didn't think so. He really doesn't need any introduction because we all know him as Jim. He does a great job for us. He's a great ambassador for Rotary. And I guess first of all, where are we on Pots of Gold?
We crossed over 150 today.
150. Okay, great. Don't forget, just buttonhole or whatever you have to do, people, and say, we're at Rotary. We do wonderful things for the community. Wouldn't you love, I know you would love to have a ticket, and then you can tell them about, this is one of the few tickets that you don't just get one chance to win. What is it, 26 or?
31.
31 chances to win, and I don't know anywhere else when you buy a ticket you get an opportunity like that. So it's a great thing. It's extremely important to us if we want to be able to do things that reach out and impact our community. This is the vehicle right here. So I just want to emphasize that to you. Again, have a meeting next week, and then the one after that is our Christmas fellowship. We'll have a meeting on the 20th of December, and then we'll skip the 27th. So this is going to be a short, December will be a short Thursday meeting month, but we'll get in some other things also. At this time, I'm going to ask Jim if he will come up and talk to us about something that's near and dear to his heart.
Come here, Mr. Morris.
Jennifer, do you want to play?
Come here.
Oh,
It's nice seeing you.
You can't get off that one. I want to thank you, Jonesboro Rotarians, for taking in Shelter Box. And we are a hero club, and we have been so recognized.
thank you.
Very quickly, I'm going to do this quickly because I want to get to the gist, to the very end. Shelter Box, the primary reason for Shelter Box. It's not going. What's happening?
Not clicking?
Oh, it would help if I turned it on.
Go back one, because I already advanced you one. There you go.
All right. The real reason we need Shelter Box, and we need a worldwide program to provide shelter, is because there are 85 million people that will not have a place to put their head down tonight. This is the original box. The original box has what I call a survival kit for a family of 4. The primary item is the tent. A secondary thing is we found as we progress along in the process, Shelter Box is about 20 years old now. As we have moved along, we realize that the tent and the box is not the solution every time. That there are many cases where people want to stay in place and do emergency repairs to their property. Because in the back islands of the Philippines, for example, there are no deeds. Possession is the rule of the land. So if you leave, you can lose everything that you have. So that's why we came up with this. We basically have 4 tents. This is Mama's super tent. That's the backup. This is a special winterized tent. The only place it's ever been distributed is North Korea. I repeat that. North Korea and Syria. This is an unbranded tent. It's made to UN specifications for 2 reasons. There are places where we put tents for people to stay, where if they had a Shelter Box logo or a Rotary wheel on them, they would not be safe. This is an unbranded tent, so nobody knows where it came from. The other reason is in a UNHCR steady refugee center, it's for equity, so everybody gets the same thing. I did not bring my, I screwed up. I had about 14 things going. The Luminade is a solar light, and I will bring a sample next week just to share the solar light. The key to this is that it will last all night, and all you have to do is throw it out in the sunlight and it'll recharge. And they are absolutely amazing. If you're a camper, a hiker, or whatever, and you want a wonderful solar light, go to luminade.com. And they now have one that has a USB port and can recharge your phone.
Wow.
Those girls thought of everything. These are just some items that are in the box. This is another example of learning from your mistakes. This water filtration system is amazing. But you have to have an engineering degree to operate the bloody thing. We found out as we went out in the system, after the fact, we do a monitoring and evaluation to see what works and what doesn't work. We found out that they never took these out of the bag. First of all the instructions are English, and there are a lot of places you can't, that people don't read where they are, can't read English where they are. And the other thing is, as you can see, it's complicated. So we solved the problem. Dick and Jane simple, bag, tube, filter. Put water in the bag, let it come out the bottom. Works amazingly well. That little bag will last 6 months with the nastiest water you have ever seen. Here's an example of the shelter kit, putting a roof on in Guatemala. You can see there's a reinforced strip on that. In the shelter kit, there are 2 tarpaulins. That reinforcement will withstand 70-mile-an-hour winds. The tent, if it's put up and staked down properly, will survive 70-mile-an-hour winds. These are the basic items in the shelter kit, but in essence, the key element is the tarps and the ropes and things of that nature. These are just some pictures of how we get things where they're going. The British would call this an articulated lorry. I don't know what you call this. There's just some other varying of. We actually bought a herd of donkeys in Nepal back in 2005 to go up the mountains because the roads were all gone. And we made a small profit on the donkeys after it was all done. In 2013, when I went to the Philippines, the typhoon went through and hit a bunch of fishing islands. Well, I had 10,000 tents, in boxes and things, and I always do that. I had 10,000 tents, and I was trying to figure out how to get them. There's no road for the truck. So we started broken down the boxes and putting the tents in outrigger canoes. That's just a nice picture. How's it all possible? It's all possible because of volunteers. We have 2 kinds of volunteers. I have toads like me who stand up and say shelter box is a wonderful thing. We call them shelter box ambassadors. There are about 475 of us around the United States, and we go about sharing the story about shelter box and try to con Rotary clubs to become hero clubs and make donations, etc., etc. The other group of volunteers are shelter box response team members. When I was a little bit younger, I was actually an SRT member, and I had 2 deployments, one to the Philippines and one to Nepal. And we actually deliver the aid where it's going to the people who are going to use it and show them how to use it. There's nothing worse than giving something. We don't just drop it on the table, drop it in the corner and say, okay, here it is. So we don't give it to a government. We don't give it to another agency unless it's a partner that we have created. But we make sure that it goes to where it's intended to go. And we do a 6-month follow-up monitoring and evaluation, as I mentioned, and those are the primaries. Rotary's a partner. We get no money from Rotary. This was a Rotary Centennial project in the UK. The Shelter Box USA was a Rotary project in Florida. Well, as you can appreciate, a Rotary club can't manage a charity nationwide. So it soon became a standalone charity. And so Rotary invites us. We are an actual partner. We're the only charity that Rotary has ever taken under its wing and says you are a Rotary partner. And so the key is thanks to you, thanks to Rotary clubs, and thanks to individuals. That's where all of our funding comes
Jim,
from.
could I mention that when I was in charge for the district for matching grants, I was very upset with Rotary International not allowing us to do grants with Shelter Box because Rotary was already involved. I said, this doesn't make sense. Well, the reason is you have to, if you're going to get a grant, you have to have an existing need in an existing location. And Shelter Box can't tell you where the next disaster is going to be. And that's the only reason.
And it's not responsive enough that when something hits that you can get the money, overnight.
This isn't a 6-month
Rotary
process.
has an amazing process of verification and taking care of your foundation dollars, and I applaud them for that. And it just doesn't fit, the rapid response, disaster response. The two systems don't fit. So Rotary has done the very next best thing, and that's basically being a sponsor to us throughout the world. And there are 15 international agencies, different countries that are standalone agencies that are members of the whole process. These are just some. This is how we got put on the map. We actually had 400 plus tents in Mississippi after Katrina, and the red light services, the emergency services people lived in them so that they could go off and do their families were taken care of. 27,000 tents. 27,000 boxes, 33,000 tents to Haiti. This is what we did last year. It's the most deployments we've ever had. And we had 84 SRTs who basically, these are response team members who spent 1,530 days out, and the average was 18 days at a time. And those are the primary places we were last year. And we were nominated to be for the Nobel Peace Prize this year. Obviously, we didn't make it, but we were very, very pleased to receive that kind of recognition. This is where we are right now, in essence, in Indonesia, still working in remote areas due to the earthquake and the tsunami, and the Philippines as a response to the typhoon. One of the things we do is we select where we go based on need. I get a lot of questions, why didn't you go to North Carolina and do whatever you do in North Carolina? And the answer is that principally it's a function of a country's ability to take care of itself. The U.S. is number 6 in the world. The Philippines is 126 in the world. When they get wiped out, there is no FEMA. There is no system. There is no Rotary club that has the ability, the resources that we have. So that's the primary reason that we go to what I call the third world countries, because those people need our services the most. And how can you help? You all do it. You give money. Thanks.
I intended to give this to you before the meeting started, but Jim does so much for us with the charitable budget, the pots of gold, and the shelter box. We thought, as a board, that we ought to recognize at this time of year Jim for all he does. Jim, do you want to read that?
Oh, that's very nice.
Most wonderful
People in
time
the
for a
back can
beer.
see, can you read that?
It's the most wonderful time for a beer.
Wear it with distinction.
2240 achieved in Beckley, West Virginia, Tuesday night.
For y'all who don't know what he's talking about, he has a spreadsheet of 2,240 beers that he sampled.
He's got a blog.
And rates all of them.
Now, there is no goal, you're never done.
And Jim is always wanting to give back. And so I think if we all meet at Mike's place, you know, this guy may be buying the beer.
If you haven't got your pots of gold envelope, pick it up on the way out. I never stop, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jim, for representing Shelter Box, representing Rotary, and being such a great member of our organization here. And we do, Sanford Rotary does provide some small funding or whatever to Shelter Box, don't we? That's on one of our lists, yeah.
Jonesboro.
Excuse me, what did I say?
Sanford.
Sanford, pardon me.
And Sanford
Jonesboro.
We did,
Cross promoting.
we did $3,600 last year. I mean, between the club, between your individual donations and my donation, we paired together.
When are we sending it in this year?
In 2 weeks.
And you
Check
know,
next week?
as I was watching this, when most of us go finish at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock today, where are we going? We're going to a house, we're going to an apartment or whatever, and it's pretty hard to relate to not having anything, and then and I won't call it primitive, but compared to your house or whatever, it may be a primitive sort, and to look at that and be thankful for that, it just says a lot. We just finished a Thanksgiving season, and I'll never take it for granted that have a warm house to live in and a dry house, and so thank you again for part of this. At this time, I'm gonna ask Van if he will. Let's have a drawing for the
Jeremy,
Polio Plus money.
pull on the ticket for me here.
Pull my number, Jeremy.
Okay, it's a white ticket. It's a white ticket. A white ticket.
No. It's gotta be
You ain't
blue
got a
ticket.
white.
It's gotta be a blue ticket.
You ain't got a white ticket.
The last 4 digits are 3640.
3640.
Okay, thank you.
And give it to Shelter Box.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, and when will we start our drawings for this? They'll be in January, right?
January, first week in January.
First week in January. Okay, so get those, work on those ticket sales and get those in. Anything else to come before the good of our Rotary meeting today?
Be sure and sign up for the party.
Sign up for the Christmas social, Christmas dinner. And so as a winner, Larry gets to lead us in the 4-way test and the Pledge of Allegiance.
4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be with friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.